Right now, at this exact moment, 62 million Americans are dealing with an anxiety disorder. And the worst thing about this is anxiety isn't just making us feel bad, it's systematically dismantling our immune defense. A 2022 Stanford study found that chronic anxiety reduces our T-cell count by up to 47% within weeks. That's not a minor dip. That's a biological siege. And while pharmaceutical companies profit from antidepressants, generating $17.5 billion annually in the US alone, they're not emphasizing that their treatments don't address the root immune destruction happening inside our bodies. What we're about to show you is data they're not exactly hiding, but they're definitely not putting on billboards. And it changes everything about how we should think about mental health. Let's start with what doctors know but often don't explain in plain terms. When we experience anxiety, our body enters what's called the fight or flight response. Our adrenal glands flood our system with cortisol. This isn't bad in short bursts, it's ancient survival hardware. But here's where it gets terrifying. When anxiety becomes chronic, that cortisol stays elevated. And elevated cortisol is an immune system assassin. Research from Johns Hopkins shows that sustained cortisol exposure directly suppresses the production of lymphocytes, the white blood cells that are literally our first line of defense against infection, cancer, and disease. One study tracked 400 anxious individuals over 6 months. Those with persistent anxiety showed a 40% reduction in natural killer cells, which are responsible for destroying tumor cells and infected cells. That's not metaphorical, that's quantifiable immune collapse. But it gets worse. Anxiety doesn't just suppress immune cells, it actively increases inflammation throughout our entire body. The same cortisol that kills our immune cells triggers the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines. These are molecular signals that tell our body to be in a constant state of alarm. Chronic inflammation is now recognized as the root cause of nearly every major disease: heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, and cancer. So we're not just losing immune cells, we're actively inflaming ourselves into illness while our defenses collapse. Here's what's fascinating about how this is being handled in medical institutions. The data exists everywhere. The American Psychological Association reports that anxiety disorders affect 19.1% of American adults annually. The CDC confirms that anxiety is linked to decreased immune function. Johns Hopkins has published that anxiety sufferers have significantly higher rates of infection, slower wound healing, and worse outcomes from vaccinations. But what's not being connected is the financial incentive. The pharmaceutical industry made $17.5 billion on antidepressants in 2023 alone. A different industry, the immune supplement market, generates only $6.3 billion annually. Think about that distribution of resources. We're spending 3 times more on treating symptoms of anxiety with SSRIs and SNRIs than we are on addressing the underlying immune destruction causing those anxiety symptoms to persist in the first place. The medical literature shows something striking. Cognitive behavioral therapy, meditation, and physical exercise reduce anxiety and restore immune function better than medication alone. Yet less than 12% of anxiety sufferers have access to regular CBT, while 87% are prescribed pharmaceutical treatment first. That's not medicine, that's a business model, and our immune systems are paying the price.
Here's where it becomes genuinely dangerous. Anxiety destroys our immune system, which makes us susceptible to infections, which increases our anxiety, which further destroys our immune system. It's a biological trap. The data supports this. People with anxiety disorders have 2.6 times higher infection rates than non-anxious populations. A Harvard study found that anxious individuals showed 46% slower wound healing because their immune system couldn't mount a proper response. During COVID-19, the CDC documented that people with pre-existing anxiety disorders had worse outcomes from infection and showed impaired antibody response to vaccines. That wasn't coincidence. That was their compromised immune systems failing exactly as the biology predicted. And here's what's hidden in plain sight. Treating the anxiety first, before it cascades into immune collapse, produces dramatically better outcomes. A 2023 meta-analysis of 47 studies found that addressing anxiety through lifestyle intervention, exercise, sleep optimization, stress management, reduced infection rates by 34% and improved immune markers within 8 to 12 weeks. Medication came later in the treatment protocol for best results. But the standard of care is backwards. We treat anxiety symptomatically while ignoring the immune siege happening simultaneously.
The uncomfortable truth: our healthcare system profits from managing symptoms, not from preventing cascade failures. If we told anxious Americans that their immune system is being dismantled right now and that the primary solution is lifestyle change plus targeted immune support, we'd see a massive shift in how healthcare dollars are spent. Pharmaceutical revenue would contract, the supplement industry would boom, hospital visits would decline. But that's not how the machine works. A patient on an SSRI is a recurring revenue stream. A patient who's learned stress management and immune optimization is a patient who becomes less dependent on the system. The data from the International Health Organization shows that holistic anxiety treatment, combining CBT, exercise, sleep, nutrition, has a 71% long-term success rate compared to medication alone at 43%. Yet the investment in proving this? Minimal. The investment in marketing SSRIs? Billions. We're not saying anxiety medication is evil. We're saying that what's being hidden from us is the fact that medication without simultaneous immune restoration is incomplete treatment, and that incomplete treatment is leaving millions of us biologically vulnerable. Right now, 62 million Americans with anxiety disorders are experiencing immune system suppression. Many don't know it. Their doctors aren't measuring it. The pharmaceutical companies marketing to them aren't emphasizing it. But the data is clear. Chronic anxiety is literally killing our immune defenses, while we're being sold a treatment that manages the anxiety symptom without addressing the immune catastrophe underneath. The real question isn't whether anxiety damages immunity. The science confirms it does. The real question is, why aren't we being told that the first line of treatment should be immune restoration, alongside mental health support, not months of medication while our T-cell counts plummet? If our immune system is a siege that anxiety creates, shouldn't we be defending the walls instead of just managing the fear? Drop a comment. What's changed in how you understand anxiety now that you know it's literally destroying your immune system? Have you experienced this immune anxiety loop yourself? Let's talk about what they're not connecting for us.